consider when we're working with bicycle traffic and with urban mobility, and that's the modern urban mobile woman. So you were right, I was going to go back to the woman. I can't help it. But she is also out there on the streets of our cities by herself or with her kids, with her husband or boyfriend, with a girlfriend heading into town. But she is out there in much fewer numbers in most cities in the world. And this really is the ultimate yardstick for working with bicycle traffic and promoting urban cycling. The percentage of bicycle users in a city that are women. Women are in a way like the canary in the coal mine. If the environment is not safe for cycling, very few women will cycle. They're probably a lot more clever than the modern urban mobile men. In a city like Copenhagen and Amsterdam, more women than men ride bicycles, and cities should look at the percentage of women riding to really gauge what they're doing and whether they're doing enough to promote the bicycle as transport. But these are all these modern urban mobile people, and I was thinking, who are these people exactly relating to bicycle traffic? And I always like to say that these people are not cyclists in the sense that we always say, oh, you're a cyclist. I'm not a cyclist, I'm just a bicycle user in Copenhagen. And I like to call all of these people citizen cyclists, because they're not members of any cycling subculture, nor will they ever be. They're just merely regular citizens who just happen to choose a bicycle to get around. So it's very important to separate them. In a perfect world, they're citizen cyclists in a vacuum cleaner culture. And this is the way that I describe our bicycle culture in Copenhagen and in Amsterdam as well. We all own a vacuum cleaner. We all have learned how to use it, and we all use it. But that's really where it ends. We don't go around thinking about our vacuum cleaner in the course of a day. We don't polish our vacuum cleaners. We don't buy urban vacuum cleaning clothes when we clean our homes. We don't give them names or wave at other vacuum cleaning enthusiasts on the street. The vacuum cleaner and the bicycle are merely very effective and practical tools for making our everyday lives easier. And this is, in a way, this is the goal of establishing Bicycle Culture 2.0, getting all the fetish aspect out of it and just presenting the bicycle as it is. There's a revolution and there's also a boom. We can see it since the beginning of 2008. It's just been going on an upward curve. Bicycle sales and the interest in returning to the bicycle. And now, more than ever before, we have to define and streamline our marketing of not only bicycles, but bicycle culture, urban cycling. We have to start selling vacuum cleaners to a mainstream crowd. We have to give them what they want. When the vacuum cleaner appeared on the scene in the 1950s, the marketing from the very first day was very, very mainstream. And it's easy to say that this was a massive success because everybody here owns a vacuum cleaner. And in a country like Denmark or Holland, everybody owns a bicycle. So we have to apply some of the similar marketing techniques. So these potential citizen cyclists in emerging bicycle cultures and other cities around the world, what is it they want? First of all, what kind of bicycles are they looking at? The regular citizens, not the cycling subcultures. Believe it or not, it's stuff like this. The vintage bicycle is absolutely popular at the moment. It's simply the hottest thing you can buy. Prices, I've seen the prices just been rising over the past 2 years. This is taken in Montreal. And vintage bicycles, the ones our parents had in the 50s, our grandparents in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, these are incredibly popular. Very generally, what I can see is that the trend is among citizen cyclists that people who are reconsidering the bicycle or considering riding the bicycle. It's bikes like this. It's basic, practical, upright bikes and city bikes. I did some market research, and I had about 800 people respond to a survey. The demographic was people who are not like maybe cycling now or cycling a little bit now. What kind of bikes were they looking at from all over the world? And the vast majority said, oh, I want an upright bike. I want high handlebars, whether for a man or a woman. About half wanted a basket out front, like Copenhagen style. The other half wanted pannier bags, Amsterdam style. And I had a whole list of colors, thinking, this is going to be interesting to see what colors people want. Basically, 80% wanted black, which really, really surprised me. And in second place was red, but it was black or red. And that's when I realized this vintage craze at the moment And the results of this survey, it shows me that people all around the world who are returning to the bicycle, they just want a piece of the dream. They've had 40 years of marketing the bicycle, an entire generation, basically, marketing the bicycle as sport or recreation, but not as a normal, everyday accessory to urban living. And they're hungry for it. We can see it on the internet, all the pictures on my blog, but all the other blogs that are popping up. They want to feel like, if they're sitting in Chicago, they want to feel like that they're riding a bicycle through Copenhagen or Amsterdam or even Berlin or Paris and whatnot. They want a piece of the dream. And this is very important marketing for selling it to the mainstream audience. What they don't want, what nobody really wants in any mainstream marketing equation is overcomplication. We have to keep things simple. It's a vacuum cleaner, it sucks up dirt, and you need one. Okay, great. When the bicycle was booming, this ad on the left is from about 1900. The bicycle was booming all over the world, and all of these products started showing up, capitalizing on the trend, which is great. You know, it's a market economy. People can sell whatever they want. But this is an ad for a bicycle corset. Now, I'm not an expert in corsets, but you know what? That's just a corset, okay? And they gave it a different name. There's nothing bicycle about it, but they were hoping to capitalize on the trend. And on the right is a bicycle that showed up in Copenhagen in the 1930s. They call it the autocycle. You know, it's a bicycle, but you can pretend like you're driving a car. And that was really popular for about 3 months. You know, you can't improve on the design of a bicycle. It's really difficult, you know, and do people really need a bicycle corset? We're seeing this at the moment with this trend, and that's fine, you know, people can do what they want. But if we're going to market something to the mainstream as opposed to the subcultures, then we have to have a very different approach. Keep it simple. And basically, let's not waste any money, you know, the bicycle industry. Don't waste any money ignoring 125 years of tried and tested marketing experience. That is so rare for a product to have so much marketing experience behind it and all positive. So let's focus on using that experience. Both the bicycle industry and cities, municipalities and countries for that sake, they need to understand the market, that it's not about the people who are riding bicycles now, or who were riding bicycles 5 years ago. That's great, but the vast potential is out there. The modern urban mobile men and women of our cities who are not cycling now, that's who we want to grab. That's who we want to get a hold of. And we need to understand that market. Now I have 4 goals for promoting urban cycling that I've developed with my company. And how do we get these modern urban mobile people onto bicycles? What does it take? And these are the 4 goals. The first one is what I call A to Bism. It is basic anthropology. If you make the bicycle the quickest way to get through a city, everybody and their dog will get on board. The strangest people will be seen on bicycles because we're all Homo sapiens, no matter where we're from in the world. We all just want to get there quick, whether on a bike, on a train, in a car, or on foot. Well, we're like rivers. We'll always find the quickest route. And if you make that the bicycle, you're well on your way. And you basically did my presentation for me, but this is what we know from Copenhagen. This is why we know this is true. Every 2 years we ask the people, what's your main reason for riding a bike? And every time it's the majority say, oh, it's quick and easy. You know, it's simply the quickest way for me to get around. 19% say, it's good exercise. You know, I get my 30 minutes a day like the Ministry of Health says I should, so that's nice. And 6% do it because it's inexpensive, 1% do it for environmental reasons. You know, the modern urban mobile man and woman, they're not environmentalists, they will never be. You know, Homo sapiens don't want to stand up on soapboxes if they can avoid it and make, you know, demonstrative points about how environmentally friendly they are. Regular people just want to do good stuff if they're given the opportunity and if we make it possible for them to do it. A to Bism presupposes bicycle infrastructure. If we want to see the elderly out in our cities, women with their children, with their husbands, their boyfriends, you know, all of these different people in our cities, we want to see them out there in great numbers like we see in Copenhagen or Amsterdam. We need to have infrastructure. Now, I rode around by myself 3 hours yesterday from west to east and back. Got lost twice yesterday. And most of that was on separated infrastructure. It wasn't the best in the whole world, but man, it's a luxury problem because there's other cities in the world that would just be dying for the kind of infrastructure that we have here in Berlin. And again, you know, let's not waste any money ignoring. You know, cities are broke. Cities don't have a lot of money at the moment. The budgets are tight. So really, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, you know, don't waste money ignoring 40 years of tried and tested best practice regarding infrastructure from countries like Denmark and Holland. And all the cities we see around the world that are booming with bicycle traffic, you know, out of nowhere, it's the bicycle infrastructure is a main factor in that. Number two is something that seems really quite simple when you say it, but hey, what about if we applied basic marketing techniques to urban cycling? What if we sold it like we sell every other product in the supermarket or in the stores? You know, everybody sells their products positively, or people won't buy them, obviously. But we're not doing this enough with urban cycling. These are the kind of words that we're using to sell cycling, and have been using them for about 40 years. You know, cycling, oh, it's difficult, it's expensive, you need a fancy bike and all the gear. You know, oh, it's dangerous, which it isn't. Oh, it's sweaty, it's subcultural. You know, I think all of us, you don't need a PhD in marketing to realize that these are not very good words to use if you want to sell a product to the mainstream. Instead, you should be using words like this. Cycling, oh, it's, you know, it's glamorous, it's affordable, it's ennobling, it's effortless, and it's mainstream. The all-important mainstream. It's normal, you know, everybody's doing it. It's a vacuum cleaner. These are positive words for marketing to the mainstream. We used to do it like this. We were really, really good at this. Bicycle posters from the very beginning of Bicycle Culture 1.0 and all through the 1940s. They all look like this. There's some German ones in there as well. You know, again, we don't need a PhD to realize that this is positive imagery. And the great thing about this is that it worked. Think about it. From 1880 and up until 1940s, hundreds of millions of bicycles were sold and were used. So this is just basic marketing for dummies, really. And we need to return to this if we're going to capture the mainstream market. If for fun.